Hi everybody and welcome to the Helen Winder Show. I'm Helen Winder and my guest today is Andrew Horder, Joyful Genius Coaching. Hello Andrew, how are you?
Hello, Helen. I'm great. How's about you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show and thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. Tell my listeners who you are, where you're from and what it is you do.
Okay. Well, I'm from very near Gatwick Airport. I'm fortunate to live within 2 miles of Gatwick Airport, which sounds horrendous, but actually I'm 2 miles off the flight path, which is great because I can actually walk to the airport if I want to.
That's handy.
So we get to go away on lots and lots. Yeah, it's brilliant. We get to go on lots of short breaks. I live down here with my wife Daniela, and we have a whale of a time. My background, well, I had several years, many years, in key account management in corporates, mainly in the DIY sector, flogging hand tools and alarms and stuff like that. So it was quite fun. But in the end, I got to that point where I kind of, you know, where you reach your late 30s feeling, it's got to be more to this. Well, perhaps you don't know that yet, Helen.
No, it's all right. I'm past that bit.
Oh, you are. But yeah, I was kind of doing okay. I was earning good money. I was in a good job, driving around the country in my posh car. I was meeting mainly nice people, and I was flogging them stuff. But I knew, I don't know, that just wasn't going to be enough for me, not for much longer anyway. So I decided, I know, I've got to get up the management ladder. That's the answer. I signed up for a degree to learn all about how business works. I worked very hard. I was doing 10, 20 hours a week study on top of changing jobs 3 times, and you know, each time more responsibility, more pressure. Got to 2002 and I got my MBA, and I had this fantastic ceremony in Ely Cathedral where I was awarded my degree, and I thought, that's it, I'm done, I'm sorted. But actually inside I was really still struggling. We got to 2003 and I was like truly stuck in this job that I absolutely hated. It was making me physically and probably mentally ill. I absolutely hated my boss. You know, every day I felt like I was going to deck my boss. And, you know, I just felt I had no purpose. I was just kind of drifting along, dead inside. And I was hoping that somehow it would all come all right. Eventually, I took redundancy. And the idea was to get myself back to, you know, a life with purpose. What actually happened was, fast forward 3 years, 2006, the job was better, the car was better, and the boss wasn't quite such a bully. But I was still thinking, is this all there is?
Yeah.
I got into the self-development world, and I spent literally tens of thousands of pounds on courses to help me find my place in life. You know, courses about finding my destiny, overcoming the blocks that I put in my way. I'd learned coaching skills. And even how to put all that together into a sound business structure. And I've tried several businesses. I did working for myself, I did working with partners, I did working for other people, and it still didn't quite work. You know that kind of feeling?
Oh yes,
Where,
definitely, yeah.
it's just, there's still something not quite right here. And I went back to something I did quite soon after I left corporate, a thing called core process, which kind of gives you a description of the thing that you're doing when you're absolutely at your best, when things are all going incredibly well.
Yeah.
And mine is encouraging potential. And then I took it a step further to understand not only what I do, but also why I do it and how I do it. I did that with a chap called Nick Heap, who you might know.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, I remember saying to Nick something along the lines of, oh wow, you know, if we could just get everybody doing it, what they're brilliant at for a living, and you know, we have that work they love to do, and that they can actually get paid for, wouldn't the world be a better place? Yeah, that's what someone needs to do to fix all this mess we're in.
Yeah.
And as he does, he sort of looked at me, he just very gently said, someone, why not you? And that was kind of the start of me accepting and acknowledging that all through my career, actually I've been a coach.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I bring people out of themselves. I help them to find that, well, what are now called joyful genius. That's what the business is now.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how sometimes the core of who we are is there, but I think in the business world and the working world, we just sort of, we get suckered along, don't we, into different thinking, into, oh, no, no, you've got to do it this way. Well, and something always fights, doesn't it, inside?
Yeah, I think one of my missions in life is to get us thinking differently about work, so that work is not that thing that you do, you know, you're forced to do in order to fund your real life.
Yeah.
But it's actually an integral part of the joy of living, and we don't separate the two. We understand that we spend over half our waking hours either at or preparing for work.
Yeah.
Certainly, you know, in an employed situation. You know, how sad is it that we feel that we have to do something we don't enjoy to make life work? That's crazy.
It is, isn't it?
So I'm on a bit of a crusade about that.
No, I don't blame you, because I fully agree. You know, like you say, half of our waking hours is spent delivering work, whether you're employed or, all right, you know, when we're on our own businesses, sometimes it's
also if you're an
slightly more than
entrepreneur.
that. Yeah, exactly. But just, yeah, how many hours last night? Oh, but, you know, it's at the end of the day, we have to feel comfortable with what we're doing, how we're doing it, who we're with, and actually I think it comes down to us to feel differently, doesn't it?
It is. I think it's about understanding what it is that actually lights you up. You know, when you get that, for years my coaching was around focus, you know, and part of the bit that didn't really work was trying to be a focus coach. And it wasn't until I realized that actually the way that people stay on track, they stay focused, is when they know what it is they love to do, what it is they're driven by, what their passion is, and that is what pulls them through.
Yeah.
You can tell people how to be focused till you're blue in the face, but if they don't know why they're getting focused, what they're focused on achieving,
yeah,
it just doesn't work.
No, absolutely.
Because it becomes another chore.
And people, we don't like that word chore, do we?
It really isn't.
No. It's like, you know, at the weekends I write the chore list for my children, and they look at me and very blankly. And these, you know, could you possibly assist with, or, you know, if we did this, and they still look at you blankly because the first word they heard was chore.
Chore. Yeah. If only there was a way to make chores into some kind of a game.
Yeah.
Then maybe we might stand a chance with that.
Yeah, that does. So, I mean, I love, obviously, the name Joyful Genius. I think that is absolutely spot on. So how do you engage with people? What, you know, how do you get them into this Joyful Genius mode?
Well, there's two things I use mainly. The first thing is talent dynamics, which is an offshoot of wealth dynamics. And what that does is it kind of helps you figure out where you sit in a team. So what roles are you best at playing in a team that build on your natural skills?
Yeah.
It sort of comes from the basis of, you know, what we want to do is build on our strengths. Working on our weaknesses, actually, if what you do is you find out what your weaknesses are and you just kind of coast along with your strengths and you work on your weaknesses, what actually happens there is you become average.
Yeah.
At everything, because you're not putting enough effort into what you're really brilliant at, and you're doing enough to get up to average of the stuff you're not so good at. If you focus on what you're brilliant at and let somebody else deal with the stuff you're not so good at, you can become brilliant. You can truly step into, you know, to use some grand words, you know, you can step into your magnificence. And that's why I talk about joyful genius. The Brits hate it, want to be a genius, you know. A few of them are prepared to admit to having a genius, you know. So I kind of do it, the name of the coaching is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, to kind of challenge people to own up to their joyful genius.
Yeah.
So talent dynamics is one thing. That's kind of the starting point for it. And then core process, I learned how to deliver core process. I got Nick to teach me because it made such a difference to me. And we've developed it now, so you've got core process is like the bit that sits in the middle, and above core process you've got your core purpose, the why of how you do what you do. And then underneath that, chunking down from core process, is the core practice, that's the nuts and bolts, the pragmatic day-to-day stuff of how you actually deliver it.
Yeah.
So you've got the why that's pulling you forward, the core process that it all anchors on, and then the core practice is what actually allows you to do it. So it allows you to know what to do, what actions you should be focusing on, what activities to get involved in, and the day-to-day stuff to do to make it all work.
Yeah, I like that.
And yeah, it's a really nice, elegant model. If you go to joyfulgenius.com, you'll see there's a nice diagram of it on there, and it makes enormous difference to people. Which, in the end, my core process is encouraging potential, so that's what I love to do. I get to go out and do be and do my core process every day.
And when we're doing what we love, gosh, isn't the place a very different? It's just so different.
Yeah, and we achieve more too.
Yeah.
There's this thing called enjoyment performance theory, which it says that we do better at work that we enjoy. And there's a very logical reason for that, because we enjoy it, we tend to do more of it. That means that we're because we do more of it, we therefore get better at it. And I don't know about you, I quite like doing stuff that I'm good at.
Oh yeah.
I'd much prefer to be doing stuff I'm good at than
Absolutely.
stuff I'm not very good at.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I get better at it, which means I enjoy it more, which means I do more of it, which means I get better at it, which means I enjoy it more. And it all goes around in this wonderful circle that just builds and builds and builds on itself. And every time you step out of that circle and try to do something that you're not so good at or that you don't really enjoy, you break the circle that's building upwards. That's why it's so important to have the team around you that enables you to focus on what you're good at and to not have to do that stuff.
Absolutely. It's a little bit like, it's a bit of a strange way of describing it, but if you have a roast dinner and you pop some things on there that you really don't like, you shove them to one side. And you try and forget about them, because when you've eaten everything else, it's there, so waiting for you, like my son and sprouts.
I like that. I like that. That's a really good analogy. Yeah.
But if you think about it, when you've emptied the plate of everything you love, they are still there. So by engaging with people that can help you to eat those sprouts, help you with the big...
Well, to take that analogy further, what you're really talking about doing there is you're swapping your sprouts with your husband's parsnips.
Exactly.
Or whatever, So we all end up getting to eat the stuff we like and not having to do the stuff we don't like.
Exactly. Do you like that? That's quite clever, that one.
I'm going to build that.
I'm quite good at coming up with these weird and wonderful ways of describing things. But it's, I can
as a mentor, don't you?
Oh gosh, yeah, absolutely. You understand everybody's language and what makes them tick and click into understanding what you're saying, don't you?
Yeah. You got to find a way to get the point across. Definitely.
You know what? I'm loving the sound of this core process. I can really see how everybody can benefit from it. Whether you're an employee or whether you're an employer and a business owner or entrepreneur, I think it's really important for everybody to understand themselves, what makes them tick, what they actually love doing and don't like doing, and I can really see it taking off.
Yeah, it's definitely got legs. That's why I'm doing it.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm enjoying it so much.
So, on your journey to Joyful Genius, I mean, you've explained obviously, where you've come from and what you did. I mean, creating Joyful Genius and coming up with it, has it been a smooth road for you, or have there been a few lumps and bumps along the way?
One or two lumps or bumps. Yeah, I mean, when I first came out of corporate, I thought I was going to be sort of an external consultant, key account strategy, because that's what I'd done all the time in corporate. And I kind of enjoyed it, apart from the corporate strictures that got in the way. But that wasn't really what I was best at all. I could do it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't really what I added the most value in. And I tell you, I have spent silly amounts of money on on stuff that I would I would claim it just didn't work. To be honest, I probably didn't put it into action properly. And I think one of the things that somebody on the entrepreneurial journey needs to watch out for is there are no silver bullets.
Yeah.
And if someone is promising you a fix that doesn't involve them joining you in your business and sharing part of the risk, then look very carefully at it and make sure that it's something that you will really use. Don't fall for the silver bullet promises, because generally they don't exist. It is down to you, and you are going to need to interpret the information that someone else might be able to give you. That's
Very
not to
true.
say you shouldn't get help on the way, but make sure that the person who's offering you help is the right person for you, and that you're going to do something with it.
That's the thing.
Yeah, the other thing I did, I lost my way. I got sort of drawn off into things that people asked me to do that they knew I could do, and actually I could do them moderately well. But I wasn't really excited by them, and so eventually my interest faded away, or they wanted me to get more and more and more involved in stuff that wasn't really what I wanted to do, and I ended up just losing my way, really. And so one thing I absolutely do say to all of my clients, those who are on the entrepreneurial journey, is you want to make sure you stay focused.
Yeah.
And the inimitable Fraser Hay gave me a great acronym for focus, which is follow one course until successful.
I like that.
Don't get distracted away by those shiny balls. But one thing about that is, when I say that to the sort of the creative, the very, very entrepreneurial types who, left to their own devices, would have 15 businesses on the go, they sort of go, oh no, but I can't focus on just one thing, I get bored. And the important thing there is it's not one single thing, but it's one general course. It's one theme that you can wrap round everything, so people understand what you're all about, and you understand what you're all about. So for me, that has become encouraging potential. For somebody else, it might be making technology easy for somebody, like Shelley does. Or it might be dealing with the back office for people, that kind of stuff. And you can put various things into that overall theme without losing focus.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go outside of that onto some other shiny ball, forget it. You're going to get distracted. You're going to find it hard to really apply your genius effectively.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You almost get half-cooked pancakes if you don't stay focused and flip them and.
You like your food analogies, don't you?
You didn't hear my tummy rumble then.
Yeah, but no, you're absolutely right. I think it's quite good to describe that. Business is a bit like a pancake. Watch it and keep an eye on it all the time, and it's really rather nice.
Yeah.
Leave it to its own devices, and it'll either curdle or burn.
Exactly. Well, I have to have a show on food analogies. That'd be really cool, wouldn't it? How to interpret our core processes is by thinking of food.
Yeah. That'd definitely be an interesting one. That would definitely be interesting.
Definitely. But focus is really, really key because nobody else can do
Yeah.
it for you, only yourself. And if you want to achieve, you want to get somewhere, then you have to apply yourself and you have to engage with the right people.
Yeah. Getting that team around you that can do the stuff that you don't like doing and that can do business in a way that complements the way you do business.
Yeah.
One of the businesses I got involved in was, it was an IT support business, and my role in the business was to be the grounded one, to ask the awkward questions and to say, we haven't finished this one yet, can we complete this project before we move on, please? Because my business partner in that one was an out-and-out creator, 15 ideas an hour. And my role was to like filter those ideas and go, yeah, okay, that one fits within the theme. We can put that one into the plan to develop it. That one, I don't even begin to understand how that fits, so let's just park it for now.
It's, I think, yeah, I mean, we can be all really, really creative, but you can, if it helps what you're doing at that moment in time, brilliant, go with it, add it, build on it. But if it doesn't and it conflicts and curdles, then just put it to the side for now and come back to it. Don't forget about it, but come back to it.
That's right. And one of the things that's very, very important to an entrepreneur is to understand what complements what they're doing and what draws the business off track.
Yeah.
And actually doesn't create a richer, more satisfying meal, if you like, for the end customer.
Yeah.
But actually just confuses them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back to that shiny ball syndrome.
Yeah.
You know what they say, about a confused mind doesn't buy.
Mhm.
So you're going to confuse your customers about what you're offering them.
Yeah, absolutely.
The chances are they're just going to go, don't get it, not buying.
Yeah. So what is it you do? Are you a plumber or are you a, I don't know, a joiner?
Well, it's a bit like plumbers and electricians. You wouldn't be comfortable getting somebody who claims to be both.
No.
To install your boiler, because you need the two different skills. You can't keep up to date with all the regulations on the two different skills.
No.
It's the same in anything you do in business.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Fully agree with you there. So what would be, just recapping or adding, what would be your top tips to our listeners?
Well, I would say there's three. There's the focus one, which is, don't get distracted by stuff that doesn't complement what you're already doing, doesn't add to the overall proposition that you're taking out to the market. The second one is particularly to do with finding your genius and going with your genius. Do not fall for the old fallacy that just do what you love and the money will come.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolute cobblers. Yes, you need to be doing work that you absolutely adore, because you won't be brilliant at it unless you are. But you also need a pragmatic business plan that allows you to take that genius and deliver it in a way that people can engage with it and use it effectively. So, just do what you love and the money will come. That's wishful thinking. It's not going to happen. You'll have a lovely time for about 18 months before the money runs out. I guess the last tip would be, even before you get into the entrepreneurial journey, do you even want to be an entrepreneur? Is being an entrepreneur right for you? A lot of us fall for this thing that's going around, or has been going around for some years now, in the sort of the wealth development field, where people say J-O-B, job, equals just over broke. And they say that you're never going to get truly wealthy working for somebody else. And my answer to that is, okay, tell that to Jack Welch, the CEO of General Electric. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it General Electric or GEC? I never can remember, but whichever one. What I do know is that, he spent his entire career drawing a paycheck, and his severance settlement when he left was $417 million. I think I'd call that kind of wealthy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, bit short.
yeah, yeah, you could manage, couldn't you?
Yeah, get by.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of people fall for that, the only way I'm ever going to get wealthy is if I chuck in my job, if I go and work for myself, and I work on, on my own as a one-man band. And for a lot of people, having the support structure around them is essential.
Yeah.
And for those people, chucking in the job might not be the right thing to do. You might just want to get a better job.
Yeah.
Or if you are going to go off and do your own thing, you maybe need people around you, get a team around you that you can work with. So before just diving in and going, well, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, think about, do you want to be a solopreneur?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be that sort of archetypal founder who blazes the trail all on their own with no support? Well, they don't exist, actually. You look at all of those big archetypal people, the Bransons, the Jobses, the Gateses, they've all had people behind them that complement them and make the rest of it happen. So if you think you can do it on your own, you're not going to build really a big business. You might just be able to make it big enough for you to earn a decent living for yourself if you're doing work that you absolutely love and there's a great demand for. But for most people, getting together with a team and building a team, now you might raise capital and employ people, or you might build it out for yourself using outsourced people into your team initially before you can afford to employ. That's the beauty of the world as it is at the moment. There's lots of ways to engage with people in a way that you don't necessarily have to employ an entire employee, a whole workforce. You can use people to do the work for you as and when you need it doing, and you can switch it on and off as required. But it still allows you to have the team around you. Going solo and doing it all on your own is a very dangerous way to go, and you won't ever really do more than replace the income that you had in a job if you just do that.
You do need to make sure that it is the route that is right for you, because it's a huge step to take.
It is, and it can be a very lonely step.
Yeah.
When you first set out.
Oh gosh, yes,
and that's where, of course, networking comes in. We talk about getting a team around you. Networking is a great way to do that. Whether you start with just your local breakfast networking or your local chambers, or whether you get involved in more industry type networking, or use the online networking effectively, things like Facebook and LinkedIn.
I mean, that's how we first met, wasn't it? Many moons ago on Academy. That was the first sort of protocol for you and I, wasn't it? And that's going back quite a number of years now. So, and then obviously since moving on from then, Twitter, Facebook, and so on. It's good old social media. It's very powerful.
It is, but in the end, social media on its own isn't what creates the power. It's the network that you build through social media. I very firmly believe you can do a lot in the offline world, but in the end, you need to actually talk to people.
Yeah, you need to combine the two, because at the face-to-face chatting is very different to text chatting.
Yeah, and even using a Skype call or a phone call is different to exchanging messages online.
Very different.
That sort of the synchronous versus the asynchronous, stuff that's happening at that moment, real time, versus the Facebook things where you can go away for 3 hours, think about it, and decide how to phrase it without upsetting anybody.
Indeed.
Compared to.
Do you put a smiley face or a winky face?
Yeah, absolutely. But when you're doing that, you maybe don't get the richness of the conversation and the richness of the experience and the ability to grab at opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain that, you know, if we'd been talking about the doing what you love stuff in an online conversation, we would never have come up with the roast dinner.
No, no,
As an analogy
absolutely.
for it.
Absolutely. And you know what, that's why these, you know, the interviews that I'm doing and I'm bringing them to everybody through the show is because by talking and going over, you know, our businesses, how they work for people, people will hear it very differently to what they read on a website or in a blog or online through Twitter, you know, through 100 and however many characters you're limited to. So it is really important. Pick up the phone, no, we can't pick up Skype, but I suppose you can in a way, and talk, meet. If you're in the same areas, meet up for a coffee or something.
And you know, in the end, you can't beat face-to-face. So if you get the opportunity to get face-to-face with somebody who's interesting to you,
Yeah.
and you think might be able to tell you something, or maybe you might be able to tell them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's nothing wrong with, if you have an idea, and you see somebody asking about something, you think, you know what, I could give them a few pointers.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with picking up the phone and saying, how's about a coffee? When are you next in town?
It creates such a different relationship and connection, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining me. How can people get in touch with you?
Well, thanks for inviting me on. It's been great fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. To get in touch with me, you can either you can follow me on Twitter, which is @joyful-genius, or you can go and have a look on the website, which is www.joyful-genius.com. The reason I haven't got a Joyful Genius without a hyphen is because there's a toy company in Taiwan who've got that.
Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much to my listeners as well for tuning in. I'll be back very soon with another interview for you. You can keep up to date and you can listen to the interview over and over again with Andrew if you wish to at www.thehelenwindershow.com. I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye for now.